We all have it, that little voice that tells us maybe we aren't doing enough or being the best that we can. This time of year, our inner critic can get even louder. In fact, 6 out of 10 people want to change something about themselves. And insecurities can prevent us from living a life we feel connected to. Here to talk about how to overcome anxiety and feel more confident is international life coach and author of the new book, The Self-Love Experiment. We welcome back Shannon Kaiser to the show. Shannon, welcome.
Hi, it's great to be here.
Well, you know, anxiety, this is a real thing.
It is. It is. In fact, a lot of us don't even realize that we have this negative dialogue running in our head. Up to 80% of our thoughts are actually negative. And it's a constant, and we believe it. And that's really the problem, when we believe the negative things we say about ourselves. And so really what we want to do is start to, especially this time of year, with the holidays, there's a lot of triggers, anxiety is extra high.
Right.
We want to start to train our brain to focus on the good and treat ourselves more compassionately.
So we basically need to tell that inner critic,
Yes.
right? Because that's that voice that we hear, that you're a liar.
Exactly, and say, I'm not going to listen to you anymore. And there's actually a 5-step process that you can do to really transform your inner critic into more love.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's talk about that process. What's this plan?
Yeah, it's like the self-love experiment, if you will. And the very first step is, I call it the magic of self-care. So we start to look at our self-care routine. And self-care is not always about drinking your green juice every day and yoga. Oh, I counted my calories.
Right.
It's about how we're talking to ourselves about ourselves. And so there's actually certain mantras we can say and certain things that we can do to feel better. And one of them is to repeat the words, I deserve my own love and attention and care. And when you just repeat these words in a positive way, you start to kind of shift the negativity inside of your head. It's a beautiful process.
No, it sounds easy, but clearly it's not as easy as it seems, because I think about it sort of like, okay, that guilt that starts to come in when you take care of yourself or when you're doing something for yourself, and maybe why do we feel like if I'm doing something for me, then I'm not doing something for someone else?
Yes, a lot of times we do this. We feel like self-love is selfish, and we feel like I can't put myself first, especially when we have others to take care of. But the reality is, when we really show up for ourselves first, we have more energy for others. We're more empowered, and we feel more connected to helping them, and we're of better service. And I know this from personal experience. I used to be extremely depressed and suffering from anxiety. And when I was doing that, I'd show up for people and overgive. But how much can you give when you're suffering inside?
Well,
so I
you
started
can't.
to feel better.
You can, and I absolutely subscribe to that with you. I believe in the airplane theory. You know how they tell you to put your mask on first, and then the babies.
You have to.
Can't do anything if I can't breathe.
Yes, and that's so. Like, we should apply that to our life in every area. We have to show up for ourselves first, because truly that makes the biggest difference for our loved ones, the community, and the world.
Absolutely, which is what it's all about. Now, what about the self-compassion piece?
So the magic of self-compassion is really starting to become more aware of the inner critic and recognize how often it's actually taking over. So for example, we can repeat the mantra, I am enough as I am. And as we start to say this, we realize that I am empowered in each moment of my life. And when you start to think about the voice and how often it's affecting you, you can step back and say, I'm enough. I'm enough. I don't have to do more. Because a lot of times we think we have to do more to be accepted or have more. But really, as we are, we're enough.
I love that. I love that. I'm getting a little teary-eyed because how soon can we start this? Because
right away.
Just a personal share, my almost 13-year-old is having some of that anxiety about feeling like she's not enough. And clearly, to me and her dad and anyone who loves her and really knows her, she is. But how can we get her and other people who feel that way to believe it, and at such a young age?
Yes.
When can we start? And can we start this like right now?
Let's do it yesterday, right? And I thank you for sharing, because I think so many of us, we see the people we love the most suffering, and it hurts us so much. And one thing we can start to do is become that practice for those we love. So start to, of course, compliment and show them you love her no matter what, but be that for yourself, because we are the most powerful example for those around us.
That's powerful. Be it as an example.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what about self-trust?
So the next one is the magic of self-trust. So once we start caring for ourselves and being more compassionate, we start to trust ourselves, which means we all have dreams in our heart or things that are important to us. And the more we start to practice a self-love practice, practice, the more we realize our dreams matter. And we can repeat, of course, the mantra, the more me I show, the more my life will flow.
Oh, I like
this
that.
means be authentic and step into your power by saying, I care about my dreams and I'm going to follow them. And as you do this, you start to lift up your family, you start to lift up those. So if you want to go back to school, if you want to write the book, if you want to start a cooking class, you're following your passion. And this is such a huge part of feeling empowered and getting rid of the inner critic, because it no longer can play, because you're choosing to say, I matter and my dreams are important.
Yes, yes, okay. I can see the Post-it notes on the wall right now in the mirror when you get up. And okay, the fourth Post-it note then is going to be acceptance?
The magic of self-acceptance. So this is probably the most important and reflects to what you were saying about your daughter. We don't accept ourselves because a lot of times we look at what other people say about ourselves. Maybe someone makes fun of someone at school, or we have a coworker that made a comment and it doesn't sit right. The reality is we want to start to become so confident within ourselves that we don't need other people outside of us to determine our worth. And so how I feel is more important than how I look. And if we repeat this regularly, we can recognize that the most important thing is how we feel on the inside, and we practice feeling love and security and safety within ourselves.
Okay, Shannon.
It feels good.
Okay, Shannon, you're killing me right now. And then the last is the self-love piece.
Yeah, this is, of course, the most beautiful piece, the magic of self-love. So self-love is what we all really want. And a lot of times we're looking outside of ourselves to have more. We don't feel good enough, pretty enough, smart enough, rich enough, whatever it is, because we're not allowing ourselves to say, guess what? I stand by me. I am going to show up for myself and I love me. And it is the most beautiful gift you can give to the world. And I learned this in my own self-love experiment. I realized when I can learn to love myself, which I do today, and I can truly turn that inner critic into a positive voice, then I'm helping everyone I know, because I'm more happy, I'm more positive, and loving people make loving, contributions to the world, and we're raising the whole vibration of the planet.
Girl, listen, you've touched my whole spirit today with this. This is an experiment that I want to try. I want to do this with my own kids, and I appreciate you sharing it.
Thank you.
Because it's hard being different than what other people see and what you're around, and it's a struggle, and I appreciate you sharing your own personal story too.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Thank you. It's like the best gift ever. Okay, we're going to have more information about Shannon and her book for you on our website.